Hey everyone, Michael here bringing you a brand new video, and I just kind of want to revisit first about what this channel is about. And I wanted to say I appreciate everybody's support that's been supporting this channel here. I know it's just starting, it's small, but everybody that has watched those videos consistently, I appreciate your support. I appreciate the comments inside of YouTube and outside as well to help me further and better my channel so that I can, bring you guys more engaging content and stuff that's more interesting to continue to grow. So if we if we look back at my intro video, we remember this channel I really wanted to dedicate to people that are my age or younger, people that are just graduating college or maybe are still in college or been out of college a couple years. And there's these things in the world that you are going to encounter, whether it's through finances, cooking, your careers, etc. Things that can really impact you and make tough decisions even tougher if you're not sure how to handle them. So this one is going to be really directed around people that graduate and that graduate into a leadership position within a company. So a little bit of backstory on me. When I graduated college, I went to work for a smaller company, something that's not necessarily nationally. It was 3 chemical plants in a region area down here in the southeast, and I was hired on as a production supervisor. And I was an industrial engineer in college, but in college I don't really get the exposure, I don't get the necessary skills needed to run a chemical plant. That's not something that they teach you in school. They teach you how to do bookwork, you can do algebra, you can do calculus, but you may not know, how to turn a valve, for example, just certain basic skills that are not taught in college. And then when you go out of college into the world, you get that degree so that you can get a high-paying job right out of college, a good, consistent professional job. And when I was hired on as a production supervisor, and I had to learn how to lead from a different way than I had before. I've had a job before where I was a store manager for a retail company, and I pretty much knew everything, how to do everything, right? Like I knew how to run the cash register, I knew how to stock the shelves, I knew how to unload the trucks, and I could pretty much do it as well or better than a lot of my employees because that was my job. I had to be the best. But when you go into an environment and you don't necessarily know how to do everything, you have to lead in a different way. And I wanted to share these 4 tips on how to go into a new environment when you graduate college and lead from a different perspective than everything and you're going to show people, to more of a humility style of leadership and learning from others. So the first is going to go around social media, your presence on there, and then also your presence at work and how you interact with your employees or your operators or your team members, for example. So first off, let's talk about social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of it. You have to be professional, and you don't want to be friends with team members, employees, people that report directly to you, because that can sacrifice certain professional relationships. They're going to see things, you're going to see things on there that you wouldn't necessarily know about if you weren't their friend. So just to give that get out of the college mindset of you're friends with everybody, when you go into an environment and you're a manager or you're a leader, you can't necessarily be friends with the people that work for you, as that is a professional barrier that's being crossed. And then when you're at work and you're interacting with people that report to you, there's nothing wrong with interacting about personal stuff like, hey, how was your weekend? How was your day? How was yesterday? How'd it go? How did the thing go with your family, your daughter, your son? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and you want to do that because you're building a relationship with your people. But you don't ever want to start talking about other people, like their peers or other direct reports to you. You don't want to start talking about them in any negative ways, because you may think that this person that reports to you is your friend, and maybe you have a good relationship, and they've really helped you as you've come up through the ranks at that place, or as you started as a manager. But let's say one day you have to discipline them or you have to write them up for something, they were late a few times, that relationship will then shift, and then they can now use anything you've said against you. They can basically if let's say you have the social media friendship, they can go on there, they can expose certain things. It's just best to stick to professional communication. Nothing wrong with building relationships, but you want to keep it all professional, and you never want to talk badly about anybody else that reports to you with your direct report. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want to talk about leading with humility. So you heard me when I talked about the start in the video. Other leadership roles that you may have had in other parts of life were where you actually knew the best ways to do things and you were the most experienced. But when you enter these engineering roles or business roles where you don't necessarily know how to do everything better, you have to lead by asking questions. You really just have to ask questions. You need to learn. You need to get in the trenches, so to speak, quote unquote, with people, learn what their jobs are so that you can then form more of a partnership than a direct report like, hey, go do this, go do that. It's like, hey, how can I help you? What are some of the struggles you're facing here? What are the obstacles that I as a leader can remove for you? Because, in most professional jobs, your employees or your team members are actually going to be the subject matter experts, and you're the one that's just going to eliminate their obstacles, utilizing the stuff that you learn in school or on the job. A lot of systems, lean manufacturing, those terms. So leading with humility is going up to a person that works for you and saying, hey, I understand that I'm not the best at this, and I know that you're one of them. I need your help in completing this project. This is the outcome we need. This is why we're doing it. What's the best way to do it? How can we do this? What's the best way for this company to move forward with your knowledge and experience so that we can, achieve our goals and make this company more profitable, therefore increasing our chances of success as employees for the company. So leading with humility, it's okay to say, I don't know as a leader. You go up to them and you say, hey, I don't know, let's work together. That's okay, that's all perfect. You don't want to sit there and pretend like you know something, and then somebody that actually has been doing it for a few years is going to know that you don't know how to do that, and you don't want to form that relationship because then they won't trust you. You want to build that trust. So lead with humility is number 2. Number 3, you may hear the words or the phrase that managers are really good at delegating tasks. You don't want to be a delegator. I want you to think about it more as leveraging people. So when I talked about, in the humility part, you want to partner with people and you want to work on things together. That's leveraging. Okay, how can we do this together as a team? And I understand my role in this and I understand your role in this, but how do we do this together and achieve the result together versus, hey, I have too much on my plate as a leader. John, I need you to do this, have that done by tomorrow, thank you. And then you lose all interest in the subject and it all comes down to tomorrow and you need to owe something to the boss, and then you go up to John and say, hey, do you have that done? And if John's a good employee, he's gonna have it done, but that's not building a relationship, or he could maybe have not been able to get to it, and now it's up to you. The responsibility was on you, and that's where it's better really to leverage and work with John together on that. Maybe have some check-ins with him or answer and ask questions that he may have or that you have. So leverage, don't delegate. Don't be a manager that delegates. That is not a respected position. You want to leverage people. That gets much more respect and much more team building and engagement from your team. And then the last one, I like to talk about this one because I have worked both for, I would say, a small company. And when I say small, it's something, a company that's not nationally or publicly traded. It's not nationally expanded. It's just a small little group, maybe one building or a couple buildings, or a couple plants, a regional. And then I have worked for a large publicly traded company, and I've seen the advantages and disadvantages for both. So if you're a leader that's coming right out of college, I always recommend that if you can, you get in with a small company first. And here's why. A lot of people are going to say go for the big company because you're going to learn the better systems and all that, but the smaller company is going to give you the opportunity for growth faster than you would if you were in a large corporation. So when I worked for a smaller company, I was able to actually move up the ladder faster and set me up for a much more advantageous position with the larger company, which I work for now. I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't work for that smaller company first. So for you guys that are looking for jobs or are getting close to getting to the point where you're graduating college and you're looking for a managerial or leadership position, look for the small companies because there will be much more opportunities available to you for advancement and having bigger degrees of responsibility that which you can then translate into a larger company with a nice big salary and a consistent job that is something that you can carry with you for the time to come. It's kind of harder to start with a bigger company and go smaller and be as successful, in my opinion, if you start smaller than go bigger. So those are 4 tips, guys, for leaders and new leaders graduating college. How to get into that workplace and how to build that engagement and respect with your team when you don't necessarily know how to do everything yourself. Let me know what you guys think of this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.